Hey, how's it going? All right. So, first and foremost, the thing that won the poll was the deal machine calculator. So, who has a specific question about the deal machine calculator that I can answer? Or does someone have a deal that they want me to run and I can use that as an example to kind of walk you through it? Okay, so I'm going to butcher your name. How do you pronounce that? Munir. Is that right? Awesome. Can you
Yep.
unmute yourself? Oh, there you go. All right, cool. And then Amber, I'll get to you right after. All right. So what kind of deal did you have a question about the calculator or do you have a deal that you want to go over?
I have a deal that I want to go over.
All right. What kind of deal is it? Is it seller finance, hybrid, or subject to?
It's a seller finance single family home.
Awesome. What's the purchase price?
So I currently change the numbers and for purchase price 200,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What's the seller finance amount?
186.
Okay. So what you got your down payment, what, 14,000?
Yeah.
Okay. What will the place rent for?
Estimated rent 1,500.
Okay. What are the taxes and insurance?
Which column is that?
That'll be, I think I had one open. Yeah. That'll be on this side down here at the bottom.
Okay.
Taxes, insurance.
983.31.
983. Okay, what's the insurance?
777.
Okay. And what is the monthly payment?
The monthly payment is 600.
Okay. Yeah, this deal is fantastic. So here are the things that you want to look at when you're using the
Mm-hmm.
calculator to underwrite a deal. After you put all your numbers in, you need to make sure all these numbers. Wait, are we paying realtor commissions?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
How much? Well, it's up to 3%, so it'd be 6 grand,
Yeah.
right?
So 6,000. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back over here. All right. So the main thing that you want to look at once you put all the numbers into this calculator is you want to look at your entry fee percentage and you want to look at your cash on cash return.
Yeah.
The main thing that affects your cash on cash return is the monthly payment versus the rent. So, for example, this cash on cash return 18.6, that's fantastic. But if I
Mm-hmm.
were to go up to $1,000 a month, for example, now it goes down to 4.6, that's terrible.
Yeah.
All right. And then the main thing that affects the entry fee percentage is one, your down payment to the seller, your assignment fee that you're trying to make, and then the realtor commissions, if we're paying those. So as you can see, this one went to a little bit above 15% to 16.29. And ideally, we want to keep this number below 15%, never more than 20%.
Okay.
So as this deal stands, this deal works. If you can get this locked up, I would say you have a really, really good chance of moving this deal quickly.
Okay. I have a question though. Do
Sure.
I have to pay the closing costs?
No, all of this. Okay, so let me break this part down. This
Mm-hmm.
is what it looks like for the seller. This is the deal that we are trying to lock up. We are trying to lock up a $200,000 purchase price with a $14,000 down payment, $186,000 loan amount or seller finance on a property that'll bring in $1,500 a month. We're going to try and make $10,000 on it, and we're going to pay this realtor commission $6,000. And by we, I mean the investor. Because once you go to this page, this entire page is what it looks like for the buyer or the investor for the deal. So the
Mm-hmm.
investor, their purchase price is $210,000 because of our $10,000 assignment fee. They're still
Yeah.
financing the same amount, 186,000. Their monthly payment is going to be $600 a month, and their total entry fee is going to be $34,200. $24,000 will be the down payment to the seller, and then your assignment fee. The closing costs is for title, escrow, fees, insurance, that things like that. And then realtor commission, obviously they're going to be paying that as well. So in order for them to purchase this $210,000 home under these terms, the buyer or the investor needs to come to the closing table with $34,200. So
Okay.
they're paying for all of this. We don't pay any of that.
Hmm.
Our fee is built into that number there.
Hmm.
Does that
So
make sense?
yeah.
Okay, good.
One last question.
Go
So
ahead.
how would I come to this? To a realtor, or I mean a buyer that wants to buy the home?
So you would tell the buyer that you have a property where the purchase price is $210,000. The total entry fee is $34,200, and it's cash flowing $6,385 a year, and it's got about an 18.6 cash on cash return. And then you would
Okay.
share this page or this square with that buyer and say,
Okay.
here are the numbers that I calculated. Go ahead and run them against your numbers. Because here's the thing, every single buyer, every investor is going to run their numbers different.
Yeah.
Their what they charge or what they factor in for vacancies may not be 5%. It may be 6%. It may be 12%. I've never seen one that high, but it could be. So
Mm.
all we can do is show them how we got to our numbers. Then they can take those numbers and run them against their own calculations to see if the deal works. So you're never going to get exact, because what I would do or look at to run my numbers is going to be different than the next person, and so on and so forth. So all we
Yeah.
can do is be able to back up what we're saying the property is going to do. And then just like back in math class, we have to show our work. This little screen right here is showing your work.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is that this deal machine calculator is more accurate than the deal sniper calculator for cash flows, correct?
I don't want to say it's more accurate. I want to say that it is worst case scenario.
Okay.
Deal Sniper is going to run numbers and show you the absolute worst case scenario of a deal so that
Yeah.
you can stand firm when you say, hey, it'll at least bring in this much. The deal
Okay.
machine calculator, this one that we're using, is a little more realistic. It's also tuned to our buyers. We've got a large in-house set of buyers that we kind of built this around. And again, even with those buyers that we've done tons and tons of transactions with, they all have different buy boxes. So we kind of use this calculator to culminate what's a little more realistic and actually happening out in the
Okay.
market.
Well, thank you for telling me this. It really helped.
Not a problem. Amber, what's up? Amber, you're muted if you're talking.
Yep, you're thank you.
No problem.
I have a realtor who's asking if the terms can be adjusted. This is going to be for a hybrid situation. If you could kind of go through it with me.
Sure. What's the total purchase price?
302,
Okay.
and
And
then
what is the mortgage balance?
148 to 51.
All right. So I'm just going to do big numbers, 148. Okay. What is the monthly payment?
980.
Okay. And then what's the interest rate?
6.9.
Ooh,
I know, I know.
that's all right. What are we
You can
giving?
hear the joy in my voice.
What are we giving them as a down payment?
That's what I've been trying to figure out. So initially,
Yeah. What
before
did you send them in the offer? Let's go off that.
20K.
20K.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would mean that we're selling the financing what, like $134,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't realize how I got to that, you take the total purchase price, and this is just for a hybrid. You take the total purchase price, you subtract the mortgage balance, you subtract the down payment, and whatever's left is the seller financed amount. And the seller financed amount, for anyone who doesn't understand, that's the equity that they're looking to get. And by they, I mean the seller. So the way that it works is, let's say they had no mortgage on this house. They were selling it for $302,000. Once they sell the house, not including closing costs or realtor commissions, forget about that. But because there's no mortgage, that $302,000 is their equity. That's how much they get to keep after they sell their house and they pay off what they owe. Well, in this situation, they owe nothing. So they get to keep $302,000 worth of equity. In this situation, they have a mortgage of $148,000. So when this property is sold, if it was bought cash or traditionally, then the escrow company would pay off that $148,000 to the mortgage company, and then the seller would only get what's left, which would be about $154,000 cash. So of that $154,000 cash, that's equity, instead of giving that to them in one lump sum in a cash deal, we're going to give them a chunk of it at closing and then pay them off on payments for the rest of it. So in this case, the chunk that we're going to give them is 20 grand, and then we're going to make monthly payments on the 134,000. And again, by we, I mean the investor, whoever we end up selling this to. What will this property rent for?
2,200.
Before I move on, does anyone not understand or need me to go over again what I just went over on the seller financing and equity? Okay. Are we paying realtor commissions on this one?
No.
Okay. So now I'm going to go to hybrid. I'm going to put the numbers back in. I forgot just that quick. 980. Ooh, and
I know.
it's all right. It's all right. We're going to see. We'll see what's up. Okay. All right. So,
Munir he's asking questions in the chat.
oh, hold on one second. Thank you, because I can't see that screen. Everyone keeps telling me I need to get two screens. That I don't want to. What's the difference from a hybrid and a seller finance? A hybrid is, okay, a seller finance is when they don't have a mortgage. So they become the bank. We're giving them monthly payments. We're negotiating a down payment with them. And then once everything's paid off, they get to walk away. We get to walk away, or by we, the investor. On a hybrid, that means they have a mortgage. So we're going to have our investor pay the mortgage and then also pay the monthly payment to the seller to start chipping away at how much equity they're wanting to get paid for the property. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right. So actually, as an example, so in this situation, again, this entire page is what it looks like for the buyer. So our buyer is going to have a total purchase price of $302,000. That's because we added a $10,000 assignment fee. The mortgage stays exactly the same. The seller finance amount stays exactly the same. We're going to be charging them $30,000 entry fee. $20,000 is going to go to the seller. $10,000 goes to you for your assignment fee. And then they're going to be paying about $6,000 in closing costs. So in order for them to buy this $312,000 property that's going to cash flow $7,680 a year, they need to come to the closing table with $36,240. Now, how much money do you think the sellers will take on a monthly pay? Well, actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just see what the most is. So in order to figure out what the most you can give a seller, and this is either seller finance or a hybrid, because those are the only two that we can control some aspect of the monthly payment to the seller, you need to make sure your cash on cash return is at least 10%. Now, keep in mind, 10% is bottom of the barrel. That's a deal where someone looks at it and they're like, okay, 10%, yeah, that's a good deal. If there's a deal at 11%, they're going to take that deal. So the higher the cash on cash return is, the better. So in this situation, we're asking the investor to pay the $980 a month mortgage and then also pay $250 to the seller to start chipping away at the $134 seller finance portion, which is the equity. So that's giving us a 21.19 cash on cash return. That's a really good cash on cash return. So if we want to figure out what the max is that we can give the seller, we just start incrementally increasing this number until our cash on cash return hits 10 or really close to it. So let's go to 350. All right. 450. 550. Okay. 600. Nope. 590.
570.
575.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's probably like 580 something. 583. 580. Let's try it. 583. Ah, it's like 584. Okay. So anyway, I can keep going, but it's about $580. That's the most you could give them on this deal. And again, yes, that will give you an on paper good deal, but the higher this number, the more attractive it is to an investor. And that's the name of the game. When you want to be a good wholesaler, you have to walk the line between getting the seller everything that they need in order to sign with you, while at the same time keeping the terms of the deal attractive enough for an investor to want to buy it quickly. You want investors fighting and having bidding wars over your deals, not scrambling, begging someone to buy the deal because you're running out of your inspection period. So always keep that in mind. Anyone can lock up a deal. My dog can lock up a deal. But is the deal something that an investor would want to buy? That's what you have to keep in mind when you put your disposition hat on. Because wholesaling has two sides: acquisitions, getting the deal under contract, and then disposition, selling the deal to an investor. So, Amber, what is your number that they're expecting as a monthly payment? What did you send them originally?
Oh my God, that's where I'm.
That's all right. We
So
work it out.
okay, so prior to 900.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I mean, this was before including the mortgage.
All right. So then tell them that, are they open to creative financing?
They are. The only drawback, I mean, he said it's a good deal, but
Mm-hmm.
they want like a faster term period for the balloon.
All right. Well, the balloon for the mortgage or the balloon for the seller finance portion? Because that's two totally different things.
The seller finance portion.
That's fine. It's less than 150,000. You can do like a 5-year balloon on that. That's fine.
Okay.
It can't be any less than that. I mean, 5 years, in my opinion, is fast.
So this is the thing. He asked for two, and of course, I know we can't do that. I was just like, give me some time. Let me see what I can do. I'll speak to my financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm gonna go back and say we can do 5. I need to know how to present that so I can lock this in.
I mean, you have to let them know. Look, if we're gonna, how long has the house been listed for?
Did you 96 days,
Okay.
almost 100.
All right. And what was it originally listed for?
275, I believe.
Okay. So you're going to tell them, look, we're giving you $27,000 over your asking price. The property's been sitting on market for nearly 100 days. We're trying to work with you to make sure that we can get this thing sold and get some money in your pocket, but it can't go one-sided. If my investors don't have an incentive to buy the property, then they're not going to buy it. And I don't want to tell you that I can close this thing when I can't. So you have to work with me.
Okay. Okay.
So
Simple.
here are the terms that I need. Here's the absolute lowest I can go. If this doesn't work for you, then we're not the buyers for you. That's the kind of conversation you need to have.
Okay. Would you mind going back to that first screen for me? The input?
This one, sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, deals. The interest rate is high, but it's not that bad. It's still cash flowing. Now, what I would offer them on a monthly payment, it's not 580. I would make this thing attractive. I would do, what does 300 look like? Yeah, I would do 300.
Okay.
Look, and here's how you explain it. Look, at first I said I was going to give you a $900 a month payment so that my investors can cash flow. Come to find out, you've got $1,000 mortgage. So here's the best that I can do. I can cover that $1,000 mortgage, or my investors will. And then on top of that, they'll give you $300 a month in positive cash flow. And then we'll get the whole thing paid off in 5 years.
Perfect. Thanks, Sean.
No problem. Okay. Austin, what's up, dude? If you're talking, I can't hear you, dude. Okay, so while Austin's figuring out his thing, let me go to, microphone issue. Okay, no worries. Take your time. I'm going to answer this in-call message from Alex. Do you help people who are starting out JV their first deal? Yeah, absolutely. If anyone wants to JV with me or my team, it's a 60-40 split on the assignment fee. You get 60%, my disposition team gets 40%. So if it's a $10,000 assignment, you get $6,000, we get $4,000. And on top of that, we'll teach you how to dispo the deal. There's already a video on my channel showing you how to dispo the deal. But if you want to utilize my team as well, yeah, you can absolutely do that. In the Discord, just DM me in the Discord. Austin, you get your mic fixed? Okay. So Austin, just hit me up when your mic is working. Who else has got a question? Or does anyone else have a question about the calculator? Leslie, what's going on, dude? I didn't even see you jump in here. How do one-on-ones work? So, yeah, I get this question a lot. So let me say it. I don't charge for help. I don't charge for looking at your contract, looking at your deal, one-on-ones. I don't charge for any of that. So if you want to get on a one-on-one with me, you just shoot me a DM on whatever day you're available. I'll let you know what time I have available, and then I'll shoot you a link. Just shoot me a DM 5 minutes before we're scheduled to meet. That's it. Okay. So moving on from the calculator, then Austin, if you need me to go back, just let me know and I'll go back. Moving on from the calculator, does anyone have any questions about Deal Sniper directly or how certain aspects of creative financing works? And I can intertwine those two. Awesome. I'm the best teacher in the world. Cool. Okay. Does anyone have any question about anything related to wholesaling, Deal Sniper, creative finance, working with realtors, anything like that? Shahin, what's up, dude? You're muted if you're talking.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for taking the question. So I have a potential deal, but the house is $6 million. They're willing to do monthly payments, and it's 500,000 down. Am I going too far on this?
Wait a minute. Really? They only want 500,000 down?
Only 500. They said less than 10%.
Okay. All right. What do they want? If they're talking down payment, what do they want as a monthly payment?
5,000 monthly.
All right. And what is the place?
It's a mansion. It's a full-on mansion.
Okay. And then what city is it in?
Houston.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing with the mansion. You're probably not going to find an investor who's going to invest in the mansion unless it works as an Airbnb. That's the only way it's going to work. And then even then, the reason why I tell you guys to stick to 350,000 as a purchase price or less is because one, your buyer pool of people who can afford what we're going to be doing for this deal as far as the entry fee is a lot bigger for a $350,000 house versus $1 million house or a $6 million house. I mean, think about it. Look at this deal. This is a standard $200,000 deal. And the total entry fee that someone has to come up with is 34 grand. If the purchase price was 6 million, well, hell, just the down payment is $500,000. Then you got to think assignment fee, closing costs, and realtor commissions if there's a realtor that wants to get paid. So you're looking at $600,000 to $750,000. There are buyers who can do that, but not that many. And then on top of that, the deal probably doesn't work as a short-term rental. I don't know how many people short-term rent. I'm sorry, as a long-term rental. I don't know how many people long-term rent a mansion, but your only shot is a short-term rental. That's the only thing that may work. And the fact that it's in Houston, that's good. It's in you said Houston, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that it's in Houston, that's a nice, decent sized place. You know, the Airbnb potential is probably really high. I mean, we can run it, but I don't think you should give me the address. So do you know how to run numbers on AirDNA?
I do.
Okay. So run the numbers on AirDNA. Take the number that it gives you that it's going to make, divide that by 12, and that'll give you your monthly, and see if the deal works. Put it into the calculator and see if it works. I mean, hell, we can put it in right now, and I can tell you what it would have to be in order for it to work.
Sure, let's give it a try.
Okay, so $6 million. That's a lot of zeros. And then 550,000, right?
They said
No.
423 they're good with. Only 423.
Wait. Hold on, I'm confused. You said the down payment was $500,000.
So I was just rounding. It was 423,000.
Okay,
I just pulled up the offer right now.
but the purchase price is still $6 million.
6,050,000.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep it rounded for right now, because it's easier. What do you want to make on this thing?
10,000.
All right, and what did you put this in the Deal Sniper?
It was actually my brother. He's the one that sent it out, and after he sent it out, and when we got a potential yes, that's when we're like, okay, I think we might have messed up here.
So did you put it in the Deal Sniper?
We did, yeah.
Okay, so what does it say it'll rent for?
5,500.
Okay. What are the taxes and the insurance?
Give me one moment. Taxes is 17.
1,000.
Yes.
Okay, and the insurance?
1,800.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a year or a month?
That's the year that I'm seeing here.
That's from Deal Sniper.
Yes.
All right, then that's the year. All right. I mean, it's already not. I mean, it's not looking awesome. Your cash on cash return is at 4 point, but we're going to be focusing on short term. This part is just for fun. How much money did they want monthly? $5,000.
$5,000.
Okay. So I mean, the deal doesn't work for a long term, but let's do the short term. So what we're going to do, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to say this thing will rent, because typically I would say $7,000, because when you're in a good Airbnb situation, then it's always going to be a little, significantly higher, but just enough to make deals work. And I think $1,500 as an Airbnb is fair. It'll probably be closer to 10 once you run the numbers. I'm actually curious. DM me and let me know what the numbers actually were. Unless you want to run it right now and tell me what the number is.
It's on AirDNA.
Yeah, I mean, do you know how to do it on AirDNA? Because I don't want to hold everybody up if you don't.
I don't think I'm going to be able to do it that quickly.
Okay, so we'll just assume that it's 7,000. All right, and then I'm going to take these and I'm going to max them out. So 200, 100, 300. I don't know what internet is $30. So I'm going to put 100. Cleaning. I'm going to put 500, even though this is a mansion, so it's probably going to be more.
It's 11,000 square feet, if that makes a difference.
Okay. And then we have the insurance at 1,800 and the taxes at 17,000. Okay, so this deal is half as bad as far as cash flow. So now let's see what the rent would have, or the STR would have to be. What if it was 10 grand? I bet you that works.
So is it possible to wholesale this one?
You could, but you got to get that buyer like on point, ready to go and close when you do.
Yeah.
So that's 20. Okay, so then let's drop this to 8,500. That's 5, so that's not going to work. So how about 9,000? Okay. So you have to make sure that this thing will rent out as an Airbnb for at least $9,000 a month to have a shot at this deal of working, and that's bottom of the barrel. However,
Right.
if it rents for $10,000 a month or more, I think you got a good shot of moving this. But this is kind of what I was talking about. So remember the other deal we did was 34,000 was the total entry fee. This is 630,000. So are there buyers that can afford a $630,000 entry fee? Yes, there are. But there are so many more that can afford a $34,000 entry fee. And the more people you have that have the opportunity to buy your deal, the higher probability you have of selling it and selling it quickly, which is what you want. That's why I
Okay, I
tell
was
people to
going to
go
turn them
first.
down. I
I
was going
mean,
to let them know that we can't move forward, but I kind of saw that this could be a good lesson.
no, this is a good one. I definitely appreciate it. It's a good way to show people why they shouldn't go after. I mean, again, you can. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just the probability of you moving that deal is going to be higher on a lower purchase price. That's all.
Makes sense. I mean, if I was to put that 600,000 into the market, I'd make 60,000 a year off of it. So I don't see a point on why I would put it in here, go through all the hassle of renting it out 5 times a month, only to make maybe a fraction of that.
Exactly.
Okay, so no wholetailing. I was trying to get a 90-day close on this, but I don't think they're going to go for that either. If I was trying and do this to try and wholesale it or wholetail it, but it seems like a hassle.
I mean, it would probably be a hassle, but I mean, you could test your skills out and see if you can get them to agree to 90 days and then be like, all right, let me talk to my partner. And then if you're like, nah, they're still not going to try it, then let them know the next day. Hey, you know what? We don't want to tell you we can do something and then fail. So we're going to pass.
It's been on market for 200 days. What are the chances that I could flip it in 90?
Yeah, good point. Maybe pass on the deal.
Appreciate it, Shane.
No worries, dude.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. Who else has got their hand up? Amber, you have a question? Wait, hold on. Austin, did you get your mic working?
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Give me a second, Amber.
Hey, what's
What's up,
up?
Austin?
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could show me an example of how to underwrite a fire damaged house on Redfin.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. So what's the square footage? It's a very simple formula.
It's
What's the square footage?
1400.
1,400 square feet. Okay. So there are different tiers to rehab. And again, just like buyers have their different formulas, all wholesalers and buyers have their own way of calculating rehab costs.
Mm-hmm.
Some people overestimate. Some people are contractors on the side, so they know what it is. Some people have access to cheap labor or materials. So it's always going to be different. So what I'm giving you is a guideline.
Okay.
If it's a light to medium rehab, it's going to be about $40 to $45 a square foot.
Oh, okay.
If it's a medium to heavy rehab, it's going to be about $50 to $55 a square foot. If it's a full gut remodel, it's going to be about $65 a square foot and up, depending on what's wrong with it. So let me ask you this: how much of the house is burnt?
It's not the whole entire house. It's partially. It might be like 2 rooms or something. It's on market. It's the one I sent you on Discord.
Is the house 2 stories?
No, it's a single family.
Okay. And then was the kitchen or the bathroom burnt, or were they bedrooms?
Let's see. Bedrooms. Yeah, bedrooms.
They were both bedrooms.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably looking at averaging it all together. You're probably looking at what's the condition of the rest of the house? Does it need a full? I mean, yeah, if we're gonna do
This might be a full gut.
okay, so times, yeah, I'm gonna do $65 a square foot. So that would be $91,000. What's the ARV?
Let's see. Give me a second. Let me pull it up right now. There's a lot of activity in the neighborhood, so I don't want to miss out on it.
No, I got you.
But there's a lot of new construction too, so I can't. It's really hard for me to get a good comp on this one.
Give me your best guess. Give me the highest one you've got.
I'll say 300.
Okay. So if the ARV is 300,000, it needs $91,000 worth of work, and you want to make at least $10,000. Your max allowable offer is 94.
Okay.
What are they asking?
159.
Yeah, no, there's no way. It's not gonna happen. How long has it been on market?
Let's see. 62 days.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna do a cash offer, well, here's the thing, it's on market. So hold on a second. This is gonna be a little bit different. Because it's on market, the formula is not the same. That's why I have two different calculators. This one's for off-market cash deals, and this one's for listed. So the simple fact that it's listed means that we can only offer what it's listed for minus the estimated rehab. I mean, we can't even.
Yeah, it's impossible.
There's no way.
So I would be like wholesaling the land basically.
Yeah, pretty much. And you'd also have to get it for the land price, which is going to be significantly less than 159,000.
Yeah, I don't think the deal, because it's not even it's not by owner either, or like seller. It's like
Yeah, I would move on to another deal. And just in general, you want to make sure that you're trying to get deals that don't need a lot of work. Because we're selling these deals, and whether you're using my team or not, even if you guys are going to disposition your own deals, you're selling it to a different type of investor than a cash buyer. A cash buyer, they want to know how much can they sell the house for, how much money do they need to put into it to get that price, and what's the cheapest they can get it for. They're looking at their profit after a flip. The people that we're going to be selling these deals to are looking for buy and hold. So they want to get a property that's in good shape where they can put a tenant in there almost immediately and start getting cash flow. So the more it needs work, the more unattractive the deal is.
Okay, makes sense. Appreciate it.
No worries. Amber, what's up?
This was about the possible mansion.
Oh, okay.
How would you determine what it would go for per month as far as Airbnb goes?
You would use AirDNA. So actually, I can show you guys how to do that right now if you want.
Okay.
I just didn't want to use his property just in case. Hold on one second. Let me see who has a question. Still trying to wrap my mind around everything. Yeah, there's tons and tons of videos in the YouTube channel. All right, so let's grab an address. We'll grab this one. It's $1.5 million. Why not? So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy the address. It's a lot like Deal Sniper. And then I want to take note of the bedrooms and the bathrooms. Okay, and I'm going to go to Deal Sniper. Oh, you're going to ask me to log in. All right, hold on. So you're going to put the address in, and whatever you're going to put in the bedrooms, you're going to put in the bathrooms. And then when it comes to accommodates, you just want to take the number of bedrooms and you want to times it by 2, because you could fit 2 people to a bedroom. So technically, a 10-bedroom house will accommodate 10 people. Okay. Yes. Sign in. Thank you for welcoming me back. Can we just get to the training? You're gonna make me put all that back in again, aren't you?
Nope.
Oh no. Okay, good for you. Thanks, AirDNA. Usually you make me put it back in. So the number that you're looking for is that number right there. So that number right there is what it's going to bring in. Oh, that's operating expenses. Sorry. You want to look at net operating income. They changed it. So you want to look at net operating income, which is 45,000. That's per year. And then you want to divide it by 12, which is about $3,725.50.
Which is under the 5 that he was talking about. Which is that another way to see that it's not a good deal?
No, well, I'm using this isn't the deal that we were working, so the numbers.
Oh,
are off.
crap. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I got
Yeah.
you. Different example. Okay.
But yeah, so according to this one, this rent would be $3,750. That's where you would put that number here, or here, or here under STR. That stands for short-term rental,
Mm-hmm.
like an Airbnb.
I got you. I got you. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Shahin, did you have another question?
No, sorry.
No worries. Okay. Does anyone? We're still in the open forum Q&A. Does anyone have any other questions about anything? If not, I can let you guys go early tonight. Amber, what's up?
Yep. Last one. Okay. Were you able to figure out what happens with the mortgage once someone dies? Like, does it get passed on or?
Yeah, the mortgage. So typically what'll happen, and we would always tell or instruct someone to talk to their financial advisor, talk to their accountant, because obviously we don't do that sort of thing. But
Mhm.
from what I was told, what you would do is put that into a will and trust, just like you would do the property. So that promissory note from the mortgage and the contract for the subject to, those both go into the trust and into the will, and those would get willed to whoever the person who passes away wants to will it to, just like they would if it was just the house. It's exactly the
Gotcha.
same. Instead of keys to a house, the person who inherits it will get two pieces of paper saying that they're going to get this amount of money and that this is being paid off for them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Leslie, what's up?
Yes, yes. I was playing with some numbers, and I have a question for you.
Sure.
Can I play with the entry fee numbers, like the amount I pay to the sellers to get the entry fee to be a little lower to make it attractive to the buyer?
Yeah, you can do that, but you have to make sure that the seller agrees to it.
Okay.
So you mean like if you offer a seller $30,000 and your entry fee percentage is a little high, so then you go back to the seller and you say, hey, instead of 30, I'm going to give you 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. You just have to make sure the seller is okay with
The
it.
seller, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. Anybody else have a question? All right. Looks like we're done early for tonight. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce Eliana. Eliana? How do you pronounce that?
Elena.
Elena, yes. Thank you, Leslie.
Oh, I put a whole lot of extra into that. I didn't have to. What can I
Yeah,
do
that's
for you?
okay. So I have a question. What have you seen as far as working with expired listings? I have access to MLS and just wanted to know like what that looks like.
Expired listings is a great avenue for creative deals because and this is going to sound terrible. It's not meant to sound terrible. It just is what it is. But usually when someone has a listing that's expired, the seller anyway is a little deflated. They're a little
Right.
like, like, damn, I can't believe that didn't sell.
Right.
And then you approach them with a, hey, I'm not going to lowball you like some of these other wholesalers that call you. I'm actually going to offer you what you're asking and maybe even a little bit more. I just want to do it over terms. And then you explain it to them. You usually have a much better conversion rate because what's the alternative? They can't list it again. So it's either list it again or take a lowball offer, cash offer from another wholesaler. And they don't want to do that. So your offer is going to sound very appealing unless they have a backup plan, like they're going to rent it out themselves. So yeah, I think that's a great avenue to use.
Okay.
Was
Yeah,
that
I
your only
was just
question? Oh,
pardon. Sorry. Yeah, I was just kind of curious because I haven't been getting a whole lot of responses, and I think some of them are. Well, I'm in Vegas, so this market is kind of ridiculous. But Um,
Got a lot of turnover, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's rough, but and it's super competitive out here. So I think I'm just going against a ton of other people, I think, but
I mean, not that I would ever encourage anyone, for like give up mentality, but if Vegas isn't working, you can use Deal Sniper nationwide. Just pick another market that has at least 500,000 people in it. Because you're never, the way that this is structured, the way that we do all of this, we don't have to go meet the seller. We don't have to go meet the buyer. We don't have
right.
to be local. So if Vegas isn't working for you, just pick a different market and you can
Okay.
use Deal Sniper there.
Okay.
But at the
And you
same
said to
time,
have
there aren't a lot of, I mean, there are. There's a lot of people who know about creative financing. And this is going to sound a little conceited, and I don't mean it to be, but again, it is what it is. Most of those people don't have a me to answer their questions like Johnny on the spot.
right.
So, as far as being able to compete with the quote unquote competition, it shouldn't really be any competition for you. Your offer should always be better than anybody else's because I'm teaching you guys and I know how to manipulate the numbers to make it a win-win for everyone as long as the situation fits.
Okay. Okay. And you said a market like around 1 million then, like
At least
metro
half a
area?
million. Yeah, at least half a million. My
Okay.
my thing is then that's Calvin. Calvin says at least half a million. Mine is at least 750,000. So I just
Okay.
Google the biggest cities in the United States and then just pick the top 2 or 3 and just go there.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Thank you, Sean.
No problem. Amber, what's up?
Yeah, for the hybrid, were you
Yeah.
able to post the contracts or should I still submit like a request?
No, you have to submit a request.
Okay.
For a
Got
hybrid deal, yeah,
Mhm.
because that's going to involve the sub. Actually, well, I'm still going to submit the request, but by Friday I'll have a lawyer approved subject to contract for you guys, and then a video on how to actually fill it out. And
Okay.
just before anyone freaks out, if you've seen my video of how to fill out the seller finance contract, the subject to contract, spoiler alert, is exactly the same. You're only going to use the same 3 boxes. The only difference is that you're going to have a couple of more places to put a signature box and a bunch more places to put an initials boxes. That's it. It's literally just longer because it's got more clauses that they have to initial. That's all. But I'll do a
Okay.
video showing you guys how to walk through it anyway.
So verbally, everyone agrees. My next step should be to go straight to submit the request.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure I'm not missing anything.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And then that contract will go out. Just let them know. All contract submissions that come in go out the very next morning,
Okay.
like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And then, I mean, what would you need in order for that to be the exact time frame? Just emails?
No, when you use the link in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
it automatically sends us an alert.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so whatever comes in throughout the night gets sent out the very next morning.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. And then, just so you're on the same page, when I say sent out, I mean I'm going to DM it to you as a PDF. So you just download it and then send it to the realtor.
Then I'm back in control, pretty
Yep.
much. Okay, for sure.
Once they're ready to go, then you upload it to DocHub or
Mhm.
DocuSign, whatever you're using, put all the boxes on there, and then send it to them.
Nice.
So, Sean, your dispo team comes across. I can only imagine like hundreds of deals being submitted right on a monthly basis.
Oh yeah.
So you've come across so many different types of scenarios. In your experience and in your dispo team's experience, what's the biggest problem that you've been facing in terms of the deals that have been submitted recently, and what makes a deal a bad deal in terms of the disposition side?
That's a good question. So when we first started doing this and people were locking up deals, because for those of you that don't know, Deal Sniper's only like 2 months and a week old. And the closing process, the entire cycle from getting a deal under contract to getting money in your pocket is about 4 to 5 weeks, give or take, any issues popping up for closing. So we're just now starting to get people who have deals that have gone through, deals that are getting closed. I'm going to start interviewing them, figure out, basically how they did it, what worked, what didn't work. I'll get all that out to you guys. But when we first started Deal Sniper, we wanted to take all the deals, and we didn't realize that it was going to blow up the way that it did. So I'm very sensitive. I want to help the people who need it the most. And in my mind, that's a homestead buyer. If you've got money, but you cannot go to a bank and buy a house, but you don't have enough money to buy a house cash, that's a bad spot to be in. So we took on all these homestead deals, and that kind of clogged up the system a little bit. So once we implemented last week that we're not taking homestead deals anymore, things have started to flow a little bit better. And we're being a little bit more strict on deals that we take in. So in answer to your question, what we are finding is that the higher the cash on cash return, the better for all deals across the board, sub 2, hybrid, seller finance. It's even more compelling to an investor to have a high cash on cash return than a higher entry percentage.
The reason I ask is because obviously, whether a deal sells or not depends on a multitude of factors.
Right.
In terms of cash on cash, if we anticipate that there's going to be a lot of costs and the entry fee percentage is going to be higher, do you think there should be like what's the correlation between entry fee percentage and then cash on cash in order for it to make sense to an investor?
Well, that's going to be very dependent on a couple of things: the
Right.
investor, the market, the type of deal. Does it need work? Is it flipped? Is it just dated? But I will say this: if you're going to bend one of the rules, and by rules, for those of you guys that don't know or haven't seen my SOP video, that's the guidelines that we use for creative financing deals, and particularly seller finance. No more than 10% down for a down payment of the purchase price, no less than a 10% cash on cash return, no higher than a 20% entry fee percentage. Ideally, we want that less than 15%. And then we want our balloons accordingly, whether it's 5 years for a low purchase price or 7 to 10 years for a purchase price of 350,000 or less, or something like 6 million, where that would have to be at least a 20-year balloon. So if you're going to bend or break one of those rules, there has to be a good reason, and it just has to make sense. So if your entry fee percentage is like 25%, right, and you're like, oh my god, this will never work, but your cash on cash return is 35%, yeah, push the deal through. We'll probably find someone to get it. And the opposite of that is also true. You have a deal where the cash on cash return is like 10%, 9.5, but the entry fee percentage is like 8%. Okay, that's a killer deal. Yeah, we'll push it. We could probably get someone to buy that. But you can't have something like a bottom of the barrel 10% cash on cash return and have a 20% entry fee percentage. That's not an attractive deal to an investor. It's just not. So if it were high, I can't give you an exact number. I just know it needs to be higher than bottom of the barrel. Let's say at least 15% if your entry fee percentage is pushing 20% or above.
So I have another question, right?
Sure, go for it.
In terms of the disposition form that we fill out,
Mhm.
there's a portion that says total purchase price including assignment fee, right?
Mhm.
At what does your dispo team make that determination of, hey, look, because like, for example, for me, I put every single deal that I submit at a $10,000 assignment fee. Like I never touched that part of the DealMachine calculator, right?
Okay.
Do you guys ever make the determination of, hey, look, 10 is too much. It's messing up and making this harder to push. We'll go ahead and slice it in half and say 5. Do you guys make that determination in order to help the deal sell better or like to be pushed faster, or how does that work? Because you know what I mean? Because if you look at Deal Sniper at the bottom, it gives you different assignment fees, and obviously that's depending on a multitude of factors and whatnot. But Deal Sniper itself, the software is trying to give you the best deal possible. You know what I mean? When you put in the property. So do you think we should, when it comes to the deal machine calculator, that we adjust the assignment fee to what Deal Sniper says it should be?
My disposition team we're always going to push it for the absolute most that we can, up to 20% total entry fee percentage. So if you left enough meat on the bone, let's say you submitted a deal to us and the entry fee percentage is only 10%. Well, then we're going to try and push it for the other 10%. And if that's 10, 15, 20, $30,000, then great. And what we do is the first few days that it's out, we get a lot of feedback from investors, ones that will be interested in the deal. We do the exact same thing you guys are doing. We're sending out all these feelers just to see who's interested in what and for how much, what kind of deal do you want to work out. Then we get on the phone with these investors. We try and talk them into our number. And then ultimately we're trying to figure out, okay, what would you take for this deal? And if it's at least $10,000, we take it. If it's not exactly $10,000 or we have multiple offers of $10,000, we put all those people in a group chat or in a group email. Or if we don't want to do that, like if they don't know each other, they're strangers, then we let them all know, hey, we're getting offers right now. Our highest offer that we've received is $10,000. We're taking the highest. So I'm sending this text message to everyone. I will let you know as the offers get higher and higher. And then you take the highest offer. Now, if a deal has been under contract for let's say 10 days, and you've got it for 14 business days, and you've already been under contract for 10 business days. So that means now you need to sell the deal for whatever you can get, because one of the worst things that you can do, at least for me, again, I'm sensitive. I don't like telling a seller or a realtor that I can get the deal done, and then I have to come back to them 2 weeks later and say that I can't, because I'm not like other wholesalers, and you guys shouldn't be either, where they just ghost the person. They ghost the real estate agent. They block their number. They block their email. They ghost the seller. I don't do that. I don't do that at all. I think that makes you a coward. And I don't play that game. So the worst thing for me is going back to a real estate agent or a seller and saying, I know I said I can get this done for you, but I can't. I hate that. So I'm going to make sure I get the deal for something that I can move it for. Or I'm going to take the absolute best price that I can get. And if that's $2,000 for an assignment fee, then I'm going to take it. That's better than going back to the seller and saying, hey, I failed. So it really just depends on the situation. First and foremost, you want to make sure you lock it up for a really good movable price. And then once you do that, it's up to the disposition team. And could be up to you as well, because like I said, if you want to dispo the deal right alongside us, I will send you the same disposition material we're using, and we'll tell you everywhere that we're not posting it. There aren't too many places where we aren't going to be posting the deal, but I'll show you places where you can post it. If you find a buyer first, great, you get the entire deal. You don't need to split it with us, but we'll be also looking for a buyer kind of covering you. So if we find a buyer, yes, you have to split your assignment fee, but we're either going to be pushing it out for more money than you thought you were going to make on the deal, or at the very least, we're going to get it sold. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And so at what point do you guys determine, like, hey, look, this is not looking too hot, like you need to talk to the realtor? Like, is that like the day or two before the inspection period is meant to expire, or is it before then?
Well, typically we like to have feedback. Okay, so this is all obviously predicated on a 14 business day inspection, which usually ends up being very close to 3 weeks because my team works on the weekends. So when we get the deal, like tonight at 8 o'clock, in an hour, I'm going to be on with my disposition team, and every deal that was submitted to me over the weekend, we're going to go over, we're going to underwrite it. And I'm in a little bit of a unique situation. I know some of you guys are also probably in the same situation, but I'm also an investor. So when I'm looking at the deal, I'm looking at it through two lenses, the wholesaler side and the investor side. So needless to say, I'm scrutinizing the hell out of deals that you guys send me, because I don't want you guys to be in that same situation where you have to tell the realtor that you couldn't close the deal. Now, with that being said, My disposition team is fantastic, but we're not magic. We can't make people buy deals. We have been in situations where, I mean, it was a damn good deal and no one bought it. We couldn't move it. Other disposition teams that I know, I reached out to them, they couldn't move it. Sometimes deals just don't move. And that's what a lot of people, especially newer people, don't understand. Just because you get a lead doesn't mean it's going to turn into a contract. Just because you get a contract doesn't mean it's going to turn into an assignment fee. It's a lot of moving parts. But my team is really good at getting it done. So we like to have feedback pretty early on. So we should know within the first 7 of the 14 business days if the deal is going to move in its current state, meaning under the terms that it's in, or if we need to get a price reduction or the terms need to be changed. And I'll tell you right now, more often than not, it's the balloon. There was one deal we had. It was phenomenal. It was in Independence, Missouri. It was a low entry fee. We didn't even charge that much for the assignment fee. We ended up making $15,000 on the deal, but I think we pushed it out there for 20, got countered to 15, and we took it. But for the first 2 weeks of our inspection period, no one bid on the deal, and it was phenomenal. Come to find out, after doing our research and collecting some feedback, it was the balloon. It had a 5-year balloon on it. The moment the wholesaler renegotiated with the seller and said, look, we have pushed this to thousands of investors, and hundreds of them have come back and said they would have bought the deal, but it's got a balloon, so they're not going to. So we need to either take the balloon off, or this isn't going to work. We're not going to be able to move the deal. And the seller said, okay, we'll take the balloon off. Took the balloon off, sold the deal the next day. That's why I'm so against balloons. So anytime I reach out to you guys or my disposition team reaches out to you guys, it's probably going to be because of the balloon.
So I'm at fault of putting, like, you know what I mean, in my offers, like 15-year balloon or 10-year balloon, whatever the case.
Well, no, those are actually fantastic. This was a 5-year balloon on that.
Okay.
deal.
Okay. No, but I'm just saying, one thing that since I've joined this group for a month that I've been here, that you've always like stamped is investors don't like balloons, right? But one of my biggest like responses that I get from realtors is, what's the term? Like, how long is the term? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what would my response be to that? Would I be like 25 years, 30 years? Like what's that? Or do I just say as long as possible? Like, you know what I mean? Like what's my response to that?
No, I think that because Deal Sniper now tells you what the term is. So all you have to do now is add a balloon. When they ask, hey, can we get this shorter? Sure, we can add a 10-year balloon. We can add a 7-year balloon, whatever. Doesn't change the numbers, doesn't change anything like that. So it's fine. The way that we're treating it now, and this is experimental, but we're treating it like that last deal where I'm going to give you a list of people or general numbers. Hey, this is how many people saw the deal. This is what they said. Whatever that thing is, I'm going to have you bring that to the real estate agent. So just like I did with my deal, I'm going to say, hey, look, we've had 800 investors local to whatever city, Birmingham. 800 of our investors looked at this deal. 400 of them were interested in this deal. All of them passed for one reason, the balloon. I can get the house sold right now, but we got to do something about this balloon. So talk to your seller and see what they want to do. Because if not, we're not going to be able to move it. And I honestly don't think you guys are going to be able to sell it, at least not this way, because we have all the investors in this market. They all saw it. They all passed because of the balloon. And here's the great thing about telling them ahead of time, like I always preach, be honest, tell them that you're a wholesaler, because you can have that conversation free and clear with the real estate agent if they know what the situation is, if they know you're a wholesaler. You can say, look, I had all my buyers look at this. I've got them all. They all passed because of, and then fill in the blank, whatever the issue is for your deal. It could be the balloon. It could be the entry fee. It could be the monthly payment. It could be anything. But you can be honest with the real estate agent and say, here's what I've got. here's what it's going to take to move it to one of my investors. I've had X amount of investors interested. They all said no because of this. Can we take care of this? And then I can get your deal sold. Does that make sense? Rami, you're muted, dude.
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay, did that answer your question?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, cool. Elena, what's up?
So you were mentioning about dispo and the balloons, and I'm actually dispoing for a couple guys here in Vegas, and there are a couple properties that have balloons, and I am seriously wondering if that is the reason why they haven't sold.
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. I'm telling you, it was because we use Investor Lift, Investor Base, things like that. And a couple of our other in-house buyers, we have a platform that we use. The moment we hit send on that new deal, no balloon, we had 30 people. That's how we ended up getting more than the 10 grand that we were looking for. So probably, yeah, probably.
Okay. Because I have one right now that they're wanting a $53K down payment, and I believe it's like a 5-year balloon or something, and the payments are like over $3 grand.
Whoa,
so,
what's the purchase price?
Pardon me?
What's the purchase price?
I believe this one is 400. Let me find it. So total purchase price is $464,500.
And that $53,000 down payment, is that including the assignment fee?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So hopefully they got under contract for no more than $46,000. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's probably the balloon, because think about it. Think about what an investor has to do when the balloon comes due. So the deals that we're negotiating, even if some of them have a little bit of interest, most of them don't. And even the ones that do, they have much lower interest rates than what an investor would get from the bank. And then they have no mortgage. So they have a deal where they have a very low monthly payment because they have no interest, which means that they can cash flow the absolute most. The moment the balloon kicks in, if the investor doesn't have the liquid cash to pay the seller off, they have to refinance that property. Well, when they refinance the property to do a cash out refi to pay off the seller, what do they now have? They have a mortgage with today's current interest rates, which are going to be high, and it's going to decimate their cash flow, their monthly cash flow. That's why they don't like balloons. Or they want the longer the better, so they can ride that wave of really awesome cash flow.
Okay, and then you were explaining how to get rid of the balloon. You have to go back to the seller in order to get that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you go back to the seller. And, you know, again, this, and I don't know, I don't think you've ever been on any one of my trainings, but I always tell wholesalers, new wholesalers, tell the seller, tell the realtor, whoever you're dealing with, tell them up front that you're a wholesaler, because it makes all conversations, that when something bad happens, it makes those conversations much easier, because you can speak to them candidly and not have to create some fabricated story about how your investing partner wants to also look at the property, even though you've already sent 2 of your contractors to go look at it the day before. You know what I mean? Like, it just makes it easier to just tell the truth. I'm lazy. I don't have enough bandwidth to remember what I told you and them and that guy and this. I don't remember. Just, I'll tell you all the same. You know what I mean? It's just easier. So yeah, if you can tell the seller, look, I had a bunch of people look at this deal. They all wanted the deal, but they said no because of the balloon. I can either sell this deal for you with no balloon, or we need to cancel this because nobody's buying it, and nobody's going to buy it with this balloon, not at these prices. And then it's up to them at that point.
Okay.
But yeah, that's probably why they aren't moving, especially with those kind of purchase prices, because now we're talking the investor would have to get a new loan for, what did you say, a 5-year balloon?
Yeah, it's 81.5 at 5-year balloon on seller finance.
Yeah, that's too high for a 5-year balloon, because they're going to be getting a $200,000-ish mortgage.
Yeah.
At that point, and if the interest rates don't go down, that's gonna kill the cash flow. That's probably why they're not moving.
Mm. Okay.
Let's see. Leslie, you had a question?
Yes. Can you clarify something for me?
Sure.
The technical workout between the appraisal clause and the balloon, why they don't like it?
You want to know the difference between the appraisal clause and the balloon and when to use an
Yeah.
appraisal clause?
Yeah.
Okay. So there is one exception to a balloon, or at least removing a balloon from a deal in order to make it sell. And that's by adding an appraisal clause, which is a cheeky way. Like I understand why people do it, and we've done it before. I don't particularly like it, especially the ones that are infinite. I never do an infinite one, and I'll explain what those are. So an appraisal clause basically says it's something you put in the contract. And it says if there is a balloon and the seller does not gain X amount of equity by the time the balloon is due, then we're pushing the balloon back a year. That's the infinite one. So that means that if they don't get that equity, they just keep pushing the balloon back. We're talking about the buyer, the investor.
Yeah.
So mine is closed. And I usually cap it off at a total of 10 years. Now, again, that is for a $350,000 purchase price or less. So the way that mine says is basically the same thing. If the buyer or the property does not get X amount of equity by the time the balloon is due, then the appraisal clause is pushed back. Or, the balloon is pushed back 1 year for a maximum of X amount of years. That's the end point. That's the part that I add at the end. So if it's a 3-year balloon, I will probably add a 7-year appraisal clause, which technically for the buyer is a 10-year balloon.
Okay.
Does that make
So
sense?
at the end of the balloon, you reappraise the property to see if they have the equity or not.
Correct. Yeah. So
Okay,
at the end of
got it.
the balloon, when the balloon comes due, the seller will order, or the buyer, the investor will order an appraisal. And if the appraisal comes back, okay, your house is now worth X amount of dollars. And then if it doesn't appraise if that's not enough for the buyer to refinance the house and pay the seller off, then the appraisal and the balloon is pushed another year. And they can keep pushing it if there's
until
no
they make
end
the
date.
money.
Right. So I always put an end date in mind, and it's usually a max of 10 years. You do a 5-year balloon, 5-year appraisal clause, 7-year balloon, 3-year appraisal clause, 2-year balloon, 8-year appraisal clause. So it's always a total of about 10 years. And again, $350,000 purchase price or less. If it's more than that, then you need to have a bigger balloon.
Thanks, man.
No problem. Malia, you're muted if you're talking, by the way.
So, what about cash offers? Period. Like, sometimes they would counter like a cash offer. Do those deals move well?
If you can get them for the price that you would need to get them for in order to make the move, yeah, they can move well. The problem is, and I did a video on this if you want me to forward it to you, but the problem is that you have to offer so much lower than what the property is worth. If it's on market, it's ridiculous. I'll give you an example because I actually put this in the calculator so people can see. So if you go to the calculator, right, and you go to the MAO tab at the bottom, you'll see 2 different functions. Max offer price for a cash deal, max offer price for a listed deal if it's on market. So let's use this one, right? Let's say this property, it's worth $300,000. That's what the ARV is after repair value. It needs, I'll use a more reasonable number, $50,000 worth of work. We use one that's not burnt. And then we want to make a $10,000 assignment. That means that the most that we can offer, your MAO or max allowable offer, is $135,000, right? Now let's take this exact same house. It's still worth $300,000, but they have it listed for $159,000. Same rehab, The most we can offer is $35,000. So trying to get a seller to accept a $35,000 offer on a property that they have listed for $159,000, it's the conversion rate for that is very, very low. That's why I always tell people, if they ask for cash, just move on and follow up with them in a month if the property is still listed, and say, hey, I know you wanted cash, but my creative offer is still good and your house is still listed. So I think it's a waste of time to offer cash on a listed property.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And just in case anybody wanted to know why and didn't think to ask, it's because of investors. Investors have what's called a cart set up with all the markets that they want to invest in, right? And what a cart is, it's set up with a real estate agent. So for my real estate agent, my cart is set up for all the cities that I want to invest in properties that she does real estate in. So anytime a property hits the market that fits the criteria that I've told her, so hey, Ava, I want, purchase price $250,000 or less. I want at least a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and I want it built from 1975 and newer. I don't care about a pool. I don't care about anything else. So she's going to input that into the computer. And every time a property that fits that criteria is listed on market, it's going to get automatically emailed to me. So any property that you guys are trying to put offers in on, if you're following the program, should be on market for at least 60 days. That means that every single local investor in that city saw that property, saw what the ARV was, and passed on it. So in order for us to get them to buy it from us, we would have to get it for a super discounted price. And that's the formula. 60% of what it's listed for, minus your rehab, minus your assignment fee for on-market properties. So you can, it's just, in my opinion, a waste of time. And that's why. Does anybody else have any questions? Oh, hold up. Malia, did that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I was just asking about, because they're countering with so many other weird stuff. And I know I typically post them in the group. So I'm just trying to, think about different scenarios I've ran into so that I can know how to handle them.
No, I completely get it. And here's what I would do to any property or any realtor that says, hey, we're looking for cash only. And this is only if they're polite. If they're rude about it, maybe don't do this. Or you can. It's up to you. If you have your Google Sheet set up according to the way that I suggested you set it up, then you'll have a date next to every single property you've set an offer on. So what you're going to do is you'll mark that date, set an alarm or in your phone or in your calendar, set a reminder, whatever. And on that date in a month, you're going to check that link that's on your Google Sheet that you're using to track your leads. You're going to click the link and you're going to see if the property is still listed. If it's still listed and the real estate agent was at least professional, cordial, polite, then you're going to send them another offer or another email. And you're going to say, hey, I know you said, I don't know if you remember me, I sent you an email about a month ago. I know you said your clients were only looking for a cash offer, but I did notice the property still listed. Do you think they would be more open to my creative offer? Here it is again. And you give them the terms again. That's how you follow up with a real estate agent when they tell you no, if they're polite. You don't have to get too pushy. There's 1.5 million properties listed in the United States. You guys should not have to worry about holding on to every single lead. If a deal doesn't fit the mold or a real estate agent says no, just move on to another one. And then follow up with that realtor in a month if it's still listed. Offer them an out. But yeah, a lot of times they're going to say different ways that they ask for, just cash offers. Hey, we're looking for something conventional. Well, we're not accepting creative at the time. If they say anything like that, or just flat out, no, we're looking for cash only, put them on a follow-up, move on. All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right. Well, then I think that is it for the night. I'm going to go ahead and end this now. Thank you guys so much for joining. This will be posted on the channel tomorrow, and then I will put it in the main group chat for all of you guys if you want to watch it again. Other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic night. Austin,
Thank
what's
you,
up?
man. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Sean.
Oh, not a problem. You guys
Yeah,
have a
thank
good
you.
night. Talk to you later.